Welcome to our live stream. Dr. Cynthia Clark is an industrial engineer turned acupuncturist and functional nutritionist whose work focuses on helping people navigate complex biological systems under sustained stress. With a background in systems engineering and years of clinical experience in Chinese medicine and metabolic health, she specializes in cases where standard protocols fail. Individuals who are capable, disciplined, and resilient, yet chronically overextended. Dr. Clark is a multi-time Ironman finisher and endurance athlete, currently training for ultra-distance open water swimming and cycling events. Her understanding of long-duration stress, adaptation, and recovery extends beyond athletics into real life, caregiving, and trauma-informed care. She works closely with high-capacity individuals, clinicians, and caregivers whose nervous systems and physiology have reorganized around survival rather than longevity. She is the creator of Decode Your Dolphin, a systems navigation framework designed to help clinicians and clients understand biological load, adaptive patterns, and recovery windows without relying on motivation, force, or unrealistic timelines. Through her work, Dr. Clark teaches a regulated, systems-based approach to health that prioritizes clarity, sustainability, and long-term resilience.
You feel worse when you eat healthy, not because your body is failing or because you're allergic to health food, but because your liver is finally doing the job that it was created for at full force and on full command and overnight. You've stopped the sugar and the alcohol and the ultra-processed foods and the inflammatory oils, and you've stopped the numbing that's been going on for years, decades. And now you're starting to feel all of these things. And the question that no one really wants to ask is, why do I feel worse when I'm eating healthy than when I'm eating my comfort foods? Why am I more anxious? Why do I have trouble sleeping? And the short answer is that this is all about your liver. There's a part of your body that's been there for you all along. It's like your best friend that's been holding space for you while you went through dating a crabby guy, and now you're eating like a quart of ice cream to make up for it and to soothe your hurt feelings. And your liver has just been there for you, but it's been helping you process all of these things all of this time. So let's think of your liver as a factory. And this particular factory is like working overtime all of the time. It's filtering your blood. It's sorting out pesticides and alcohol and breakdown products from medications and just normal metabolic waste. And that's going on constantly. And it does this by transforming fat-soluble toxins into water-soluble forms so that they can leave through peeing them out, pooping them out, breathing them out, and sweating them out. And it also metabolizes hormones like estrogen and cortisol, and it helps regulate blood sugar between meals. So most of this is invisible. You don't see how awesome your liver is being for you until you change how you eat. And when you suddenly stop bringing in processed foods and excess sugar or alcohol, the liver doesn't suddenly wake up for the first time. It's been doing its job all along. It's just that now suddenly the balance of what's coming in versus what's going out shifts, and the liver can start processing, catching up on this backlog. And that's what feels weird. Because some nervous systems move through this transition gently. And then there are the ones that this talk is really for, the ones that feel everything. In the Decode Your Dolphin system, that type is called the silky shark. And silky sharks are fast swimmers. They move quickly and they take on a lot, and they can function at a high level in choppy water. They're often the people who can decide on Monday that they're eating clean now, overhaul everything at once, and white knuckle their way through the first 3 days. From the outside, it can look really impressive, but on the inside, it often feels like irritability and snapping at the people that you love. Even if you're usually a pretty calm person, or waking up between 1 and 3 a.m. with a buzzing mind, or PMS mood swings that feel outsized for what's actually happening. And they don't have to be PMS. They can just be mood swings. or a tight neck and shoulders that just never let go, or skin flare-ups that happen the moment you start to do everything right. So silky sharks, more than almost anyone, need clean water to thrive because they are built for speed and sensitivity. The cleaner the water, and by water we mean your food, your environment, your inputs, whether you're eating organic, whether you're not eating those inflammatory seed oils that are pretty much everywhere when you go out to eat, the more elegantly they move. But here's the catch. When you suddenly clean up the water around a silky shark, they also feel the turbulence of that change more intensely. The same sensitivity that makes them powerful swimmers makes them exquisitely aware of every internal shift. So if you're listening to this and thinking, why do I feel this so much more than everybody else? Why do I have a problem and everybody else seems to be able to eat clean and not feel crazy? This is exactly your territory. Here's what typically happens in that first stretch of clean eating that nobody warns you about. This is what prompts a detox surge when you eat clean. The first thing is that you remove the daily sedatives. Things like alcohol, sugar, and ultra-processed foods act like dimmers on your nervous system. You feel less, but you also sense less of what is wrong. When you pull them out, your awareness comes back faster than your healing. For a silky shark, that awareness is turned up even higher. You'll notice every headache, every mood shift, every inch of tension. Another thing that happens is that you change your fuel mix. When you shift towards more whole foods, like vegetables, fiber, good fats, fewer quick carbs, more lean protein, your blood sugar swings and your insulin and even your cortisol patterns begin to change. And that alone can feel like fatigue or like headedness or brain fog for a while. Silky sharks don't interpret this as something is wrong with me or this plan doesn't work in my body. They often do interpret that way, but in reality, their system's just recalibrating. And the third one is you're increasing the detox raw materials. So things like cruciferous vegetables, so that's like broccoli and cauliflower, or herbs or bitter greens, like dandelion greens or arugula, and high fiber foods give your liver the nutrients it needs to run its detox pathways more efficiently. When those pathways speed up, the more in between half processed compounds move through your system on their way out. And that stage is when you feel the roughest, especially if you're already prone to some irritability or some tight muscles or some mood swings or skin reactions. It's going to be worse at this time. I had an employee that worked with me years ago. We all did a group detox together, and she was the sweetest, kindest, just the picture of innocence and she was just a really beautiful human being. But she'd made some significant lifestyle changes within the past year, and she starts to do this detox cleanse. And she said that when we'd had a vendor come to visit the clinic, and when the vendor left, she said, I almost punched her. So if it feels like you are not in control of yourself, just know that it's your liver stabilizing to this. And finally, you might be mobilizing stored material. So as your blood sugar stabilizes and you burn off more of your own fat for fuel, these neurochemicals get stored in your fat, and those can be released into circulation to be processed. So a little story about this: years ago, I had started on a weightlifting program. So I was building some muscle, and I was at the gym and I was bench pressing, and out of nowhere, I'd been eating really clean and really sticking to this program. Out of nowhere, I get this sudden hit of a memory from 5 years before that was really sad. And I realized that in that moment, what was happening was I was burning off some fat that had a neurochemical signal attached to it. Nothing in that moment was wrong. Nothing was making me sad, But I had this memory out of nowhere that just ambushed me in the gym. And of course, I got weaker while I was bench pressing. I was like, whoa, okay, gotta push harder here. That's what happens when your body starts to mobilize these things. It strains your detox and your elimination systems. And if you're in a silky shark phase, this can look like your usual 2 p.m. coffee, not even touching your fatigue or your skin or your sleep. All of these things can get riled up. And it's just your body trying to catch up for years of, things that you didn't know that you were doing that were affecting your liver at the time. So when eating clean collides with silky shark wiring, this is a symptom picture of an active detoxing liver. This is what happens. You clean up your diet, the liver and detox pathways shift into a higher gear, and you start noticing everything. We're talking about fatigue and heavy limb tiredness, and you'll notice that in the upper trapezius muscles. The body is diverting energy toward processing and elimination tasks, and you'll feel like you're walking through, if you're lucky, water, muddy water, or quicksand. You might get headaches or pressure behind the eyes. So that can be partly from withdrawal of caffeine or sugar, but also from metabolic shifts in your body. So shifts in blood flow and hydration levels and detox intermediates. So this is one reason it's important to make sure that your electrolytes are staying balanced while you're making these kinds of dietary changes. And that's one that a lot of people miss. Brain fog and mood swings. So as hormones and neurotransmitters are metabolized differently, you can feel anxious or irritable or weepy or just flat for a few days. Don't let that stress you out. It'll pass. Also, digestive changes, which might range from bathroom difficulties, like more bile, more fiber, and a different microbiome pattern. And you might experience that as gas or bloating or loose stools or constipation. It doesn't feel clean, even though you're eating that way. It can feel unsettled and noisy, but you're on the right track. Skin flare-ups. When the liver and the gut are pushing more material out, the skin joins in, and that might look like breakouts or rashes or itchiness. Those are common short-term companions. And everyone's favorite, sleep disruptions. Waking between 1 and 3, vivid dreams, or restless nights can show up when blood sugar and nighttime detox rhythms are changing. In some integrative and functional medicine circles, people refer to this as either a healing crisis or a Herxheimer-like reaction. Strictly speaking, a healing crisis happens when your body is detoxing faster than your lymphatic system can comfortably release. So you just get a little bit of discomfort, and that's okay. And a Herxheimer reaction is about microbes dying off, but the lived experience can feel very similar, and you might not know which is happening. So these terms can both be used. And it feels like your body is rebelling. But what if it's not rebellion? What if it's feedback? For a silky shark phase, these symptoms are all saying, this is a lot of change happening at once. And I'm moving things, hormones and toxins and emotions that have been stuck for a long time, sometimes days, sometimes months, sometimes years, and believe it or not, even sometimes decades. I need steady support, not another sprint. So the liver detox myths versus reality. This is really important to be aware of these, because your liver doesn't need a special juice or tea to turn on. It's doing that all of the time. That's its job. It's a detoxifier. But these special substances are used to make things go faster. And that's why it's important that they be used carefully and medicinally. A lot of liver detox diets that are marketed, especially online, are really restrictive. And, for some person, honestly, like me, that does detoxes at least twice a year, and I keep my lymph flowing regularly, that can be really helpful. I did 2 7-day fasts last year just to learn more about my body and the process that it goes through with that. But if you're not in these habits and you're just starting out, that is not the place to start, because you're going to be restricting the very nutrients that your liver needs, like amino acids and protein and healthy fats, which you need to be supported while you're doing this detox. And that's how people end up hitting the wall, bonking, exhausted, nutrient deficient. I'm going to say so much brain fog that they're even unsafe driving. So when you talk about liver detoxing, you're not necessarily talking about buying a product. You're talking about what happens when you stop overloading your system and finally give it what it needs to do its job. And that looks like a steady flow of real food and enough protein to run detox enzymes and enough fiber and fluid to carry out what the liver has processed. So for the silky shark phase, this is especially critical. Extreme or all or nothing detoxes fit your go hard personality, but they backfire on your biology. The irony is that more aggressively someone tries to detox with extreme fasting or harsh herbal regimens, the more likely they are to experience severe symptoms, not because detox is working better, but because the liver is stressed and the rest of the body is being underfed. So where does this leave you, especially if you recognize yourself as a silky shark? It means the work is not to become a different kind of animal. You're on the phase that you're on in the Decode Your Dolphin system. But it does mean that the silky shark chooses the path to clean, steady water on Poipus so that you can decode your natural inner dolphin. And by that, I mean your true self, your natural healthy self, the one that bounces out of bed in the morning, that feels great when you eat food, that has lots of energy to do all of the things that you want to do all day long, versus waking up with dredge and drudge and aches and pains and being frustrated before you get out of bed that you have to go through today. That's you're stuck. And that's what this conversation is about. So how do you know if what you're feeling is a normal detox adjustment or a red flag? Let's talk about this, because this is important. Because some of these are just, you're just going to have to get through it. Things like a little fatigue or a little bit of headache or that grumpiness that I shared in the earlier story. But if you're experiencing, these are signs that you need medical attention quickly. Severe abdominal pain, yellowing of the eyes or skin, vomiting, or extreme confusion. Those are ER. Get there quickly. And then another question is, how do you support your liver so you're not just suffering through this? This might feel like a fish out of water for a silky shark phase, but it has to do with slowing down the pace of change and hydrating well and making sure bowel movements are regular and gently moving the body to support lymph flow and including enough protein and healthy fats to keep blood sugar stable while the liver does its work. And finally, how do you build a long-term way of eating that keeps your liver supported without doing a detox forever? Because the goal is not to chase endless cleanses. It's to create a way of eating that makes detox an everyday background process, not a yearly crisis. That's what protects energy and mood and hormones and longevity. Inside the Decode Your Dolphin Metabolic Reset program, the Silky Shark path is where this gets turned into something practical, supporting your biology and gently rewiring the push, crash, repeat cycle into something steadier and kinder to your system. I want to leave you with this. You're not doing it wrong. Sometimes it's a rigged game if you don't know the rules. So how do you learn the rules? For some of you, the next step may be exploring this Silky Shark pattern more deeply with me as a practitioner. Click on the link below to do that, to move forward in that direction. For others, it may simply be letting today's conversation settle without needing to act on it yet. Both are completely okay. If you feel even a little more hopeful or curious or at ease than when you arrived, then this time mattered. And I honor you for honoring yourself. Thank you for being here and for listening to what your body may be quietly asking for. And if you'd like to keep exploring together, you're warmly invited to join us next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Our February 3rd topic is, why does coffee barely work anymore? And this is a conversation silky sharks can feel down to their